Coming up on this week's programme, London's vanishing landmarks.
It's something you have to see because there are not that many anymore.
Being teased in Turkey. Roaming without the bills.
Looking good.
And Kat learns the secrets of horse whispering.
Oh, she turned.
Welcome to the travel show, coming to you this week from the heart of central London. Now, this place is known around the world for its red buses, red post boxes, and these guys, the humble London red phone box. But time could soon be up for these iconic, though now fairly little used landmarks of street life in the capital.
The red phone box is synonymous with London. When they were first introduced in the 1920s, they gave many poorer Londoners access to the phone for the very first time. And after countless appearances in films, TV shows and music videos, they became something of an icon, both here and around the world.
If you say London, it's the telephone, it's the red telephone box.
The first thing that came to my mind whenever I heard something about Britain was either the Queen or their red phone booths.
Although as more people got access to their own phone at home, the numbers of actual calls being made from them dropped. But it was the arrival of the mobile phone that really sounded the death knell for these pieces of London history.
Now, I can remember when I first came here 20 years ago, using a phone box was a really big event. It was like, I have arrived in London. And I probably took several dozen selfies in one of these things. But these days, it's clear it's just not being used very much, and frankly, isn't the nicest place to be. It smells not ideal either. Might get out of here.
Even though a lot of these phone boxes aren't in the best of shape now, there's a group of Londoners who still take pride in them and the postcard image they portray.
I think just because phone boxes are British icons, for them to look scruffy in the photos that are going all back around the world with tourists after their holiday, I didn't like that idea. So I thought, why not clean them up? It's only polite. Seeing one in a completely sorry state was almost like seeing an elderly relative in distress or something.
We like to help Emily because I think we think it's a worthy cause and we're loyal friends. It looks nice that they're all scrubbed up.
Emily and her band of volunteers regularly spend their spare time sprucing up phone boxes like these for sightseers. But it looks like even their valiant efforts might not be enough to save them.
They're difficult to keep clean and they're not very easy for people with disabilities to use, and we are obliged to have quite a high percentage of the payphones which can be used by people with disabilities.
Over the next couple of years, a new high-tech Wi-Fi enabled street phone is being unveiled across the streets of London. So how do they compare?
Oh, this does not look like a phone booth. There's no booth. Looks like a smartphone, actually. All right, how does this work? Just pop in my number. There's no receiver.
Hello.
Hello, it's me. I'm on a fancy new phone booth. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Excellent. All right, we'll see you later. Okay, bye. Well, it's not very private, but it is free, so that's good.
So the question is, what's going to happen to the old red phone boxes we've all come to know and love? Some have been put up for sale, and some are being offered to local communities to turn into things like public libraries. Others are already being rented out to businesses who see the beauty in keeping things small, like Fuad, who now repairs phones inside a phone box.
for skin replacement, yes?
Yep. I just drop it on the floor.
Wow. Okay. Closed, locked, secure. I'm not claustrophobic at all. If you work in an iconic place, you are iconic too.
Other businesses that have cropped up include cafes, coffee bars and souvenir shops, all crammed inside a square metre of floor space.
If you think all the conversations these four walls must have overheard, declarations of love, cries of emergency or whispers of espionage, these walls have heard it all, every type of conversation, and I think it's sad to see them now empty.
As yet, there's no set date for when the last of the red phone boxes will be removed from the streets of London. But I, for one, really hope they remain part of the cityscape, even if it's just for tourists to take selfies with. And if you're thinking of heading to London while we still have our red phone boxes, here are some travel show tips of things to see and do while you're here.
The end of October marks the UK's Museums at Night week. There are weird and fascinating institutions throwing open their doors late, right across the country. If you're staying in the capital though, you might want to check out the atmospheric Sir John Soanes Museum, or an 80s themed night at the London Transport Museum. November 5th is Bonfire Night, marking the date when Catholic conspirator Guy Fawkes was arrested for trying to blow up the Houses of Parliament. There are busy, fun fireworks displays everywhere. For some of the biggest, head to Alexandra Palace, where there's a beer festival, DJs and skating rink. Or head south of the river to Blackheath, which is free of charge. If you're after something a bit more peaceful, you'll be able to see the autumn leaves at their best from the treetop walkways at Kew Gardens. And while you're there, Kew's Temperate House has just reopened after 5 years of renovation work. It's the world's largest Victorian glass house and contains globally important collections of some of the world's rarest plants. Finally, London begins to prepare itself for the frantic Christmas period, with the opening of its ice rinks halfway through November. It's probably best to go early before the world's shoppers descend on the city in December. They are busy and can be expensive, but an hour spent skating in the splendour of the National History Museum or Somerset House is still plenty of fun. Next this week we're off to Turkey for a little taste of ice cream. But it's not the flavours we've gone there for. Ordering one in some parts of the country has become something of a test of your sense of humour. We went to Istanbul to check it out.
Very fun. Even when you know what's going to happen, you still fall for it every time.
It's really good. It's really fresh and fun and it tastes really good.
Bunu yapmayı 4 yıl içinde çıkardım bu arada. Çırak kalıyoruz. Tam 4 yılda usta olacağım. 5. yıl kadar usta oluyoruz. Bu gördüğünüz bir şey yani. Normal dövülmemiş dondurma. İşte bu dövüldükçe saklılaşır işte. Dövülmemiş dondurma tat vermez. Şimdi mesela şu şekilde. düşüyor. Öncelikle kolay değil. Kuvvet istiyor yapmak. Ellerinin içini bir deve olsa deve yıkabilir. Öyle sertleştiriyor.
Well, stay with us because coming up on the travel show,
Lucy's back with the best tech for your travels. This time it's pain-free roaming. How to stay connected without paying the price.
looking good.
And Kat is putting her horse whispering skills to the test with the native Marwari horses rarely seen outside India.
We're talking about mobile Wi-Fi hotspots, and today I'll be putting 3 of them through their paces, except I'm not abroad right now, so I'll be switching my phone into aeroplane mode using only the data from each device to essentially replicate what happens when you're away.
And my challenge is to use and test out 3 different roaming devices to find my mate Scott. First up is the Skyroam Solace. The company promises 4G LTE coverage in more than 130 countries, and it uses a virtual SIM, so you don't need a physical SIM card. It offers unlimited data and the option to connect up to 5 devices to it. Plus, it also doubles up as a power bank, as it has a big 6,000 milliamp battery.
So I'm testing out the internet connection with a video call, so let's see how it goes. Hey Scott, how's it going? I am all good, thank you. So I just want to confirm where we are meeting later.
Meeting's Mark.
I think I know where that is, so I'll see you there. Looking forward to it. See ya. So that was pretty pain-free. We connected almost instantly with no lag. Thumbs up.
The initial cost isn't cheap at £135 for the device, and then it's £8 for 24 hours of roaming or a flat fee of £79 for the month. Next up is the Glocal Me G3. This offers 4G LTE coverage in 100 countries, and like the Skyroam, relies on a cloud SIM technology as opposed to a local SIM card. You can choose an amount to top up or select from the data packages. It also doubles as a power bank with a 5,000 milliamp battery. I found it lasts around 15 hours.
It doesn't look like your average mobile Wi-Fi hotspot. As you can see, it's quite chunky. In fact, it kind of reminds me of an old gen smartphone. It's certainly bigger than any device I've ever used, so expect this one to weigh down your pockets.
The initial upfront cost is $119.99. Every device comes with 1 gig of free data, and then the data packages start from as little as €1.50, and you can top it up all the way to €100. Payment can be done via PayPal, so it's pretty hassle-free.
So I've downloaded a dockless bike sharing app. Everything seems quick, smooth and seamless, as if I was connected to my mobile data. It's now telling me where the closest bike is, so let's go and find it. So I found my bike, which means it's time to put away the G3 and start using my third device, the TP-Link M7 450. It relies on a micro SIM card rather than a virtual SIM like the other 2 devices. So that basically means you pay in full up front, but that does mean you can choose from a number of data packages from any network operator for super fast 4G access.
I'm using Google Maps to go and find Scott in the park. So far, so good. It's £149.99 up front, and then it's up to the user to purchase SIM and data deals from network operators at home or locally.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. Nice to meet you.
Come join.
So Scott, connecting to mobile Wi-Fi hotspots, really convenient way to access the internet when you're abroad. But if you don't have one of those devices, I guess hopping onto a public Wi-Fi hotspot is the next best option, would you say?
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of the only real thing left, assuming you don't have any kind of data package on your phone. When you're on a network like that, anyone around you can see what it is that you're doing. So if we both go and connect to the coffee shop here and and we're both on the same network in the same location, then I can see what other people around me are doing. For me, when I travel, I usually just use the data on my phone, so it's great for us in Europe because we now have European data roaming, but I appreciate for a lot of people, and for me in other countries, that's not an option. So if I have to use a Wi-Fi network in a pub or a restaurant when I'm traveling, I always use my VPN.
Yeah, so for people who don't know what a VPN is, can you just briefly just explain what that is?
So a VPN is a virtual private network by its technical name. Essentially, you install it on your phone, tablet, laptop, whatever your device is. They're usually a subscription-based service, but they're really cheap these days. You can get them for £1 a month. And it makes a secure connection from your device to whoever you choose as your VPN provider. They're really cheap, super easy to install, and they offer you a lot of protection for minimal effort.
And not as scary as they sound.
They're not, they're really not.
And finally, we're in Gurugram in India, where Katmo gets to grips with the country's first natural horsemanship course and learns about the native Marwari horses which can only be seen in this part of the world.
Horses have played a vital part in Indian culture, from helping labourers in the field to being part of ceremonial activities such as weddings. But this stable is the only place in the country that runs a natural horsemanship course, also known as horse whispering, and I'm here to find out exactly what that is.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Kat.
Communication when you find a sweet spot of a horse.
Yeah.
So every day when you
Manjeev and Charlotte are a husband and wife team with a special interest in the Marwari breed, characterised by their curved, pointy ears. It's rare to see them outside of India because they're banned from export.
Natural horsemanship is the way where we understand psychology of horses. No way. Enjoy your freedom.
Wait, what are you doing to make a turn?
So I'm crossing her shoulder length.
Yeah.
So that creates a barrier for the horse.
Right.
If I stay behind, I increase her speed.
Oh, interesting.
But the moment I block her here, so that's how they understand in the wild. The alpha mare works according to these formulas.
So you've established yourself as the alpha?
Yeah, because they are herd animal. They need one leader.
Okay.
Either you become a leader or they'll become a leader.
Right. Ray was rescued from a brick factory 2 months ago. Her leg was wounded and the owner had been struggling to keep her. Manjeev and Charlotte have been rehabilitating her using this method.
Looking good?
My turn now.
She's questioning authority, so you stay just a bit more.
Oh, she turned. Okay. Oh, good girl.
Stay in this circle.
Manjeev says their course has become popular with companies from Delhi sending their employees here for team building exercises.
In the office, you will not be able to see what team member has what kind of a potential. But when they come across with the horses generally try to pinch all your nerves. They don't let you plot because they don't give you time to think about it. You will see out of 10 people, one will become a natural leader or one who's just trying to control everybody. So you can see what kind of a personality every team member has, which makes it easy for you on a day-to-day run your business.
Should we see if we can bring her in?
Yeah, so
turn her back
towards this side. And keep a horse in your peripheral view. You don't want horse running you over.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I wasn't quite the fearless leader.
Most of their foreign visitors come from the UK, Switzerland and Dubai, mainly travellers looking to learn more about this special breed and also about natural horsemanship, staying from 2 hours to 2 weeks.
So it is lunchtime for the horses. Yummy, yummy. Lunch is served.
Dozens of horses live at these stables located at La Pegasus Polo Centre by the Aravalli Hills. It's a big operation with lots of people involved. Most of them are polo ponies. It's hoped these Marwari horses will be able to play polo too. Their gentle temperament is suited for beginners. Lal is a groom here. He comes from a village near Jodhpur, hundreds of miles away. For him, helping to rehabilitate these horses and training them to play polo is his passion.
Do you think people's ideas are changing about the sport in India?
हाँ अभी काफ़ी है अभी काफ़ी जने आए हैं पोलो खेलने के लिए कभी छोटे प्लेयर भी हैं आज की तारीख में काफ़ी अच्छे प्लेयर हैं जो मौका देते हैं अपने राइडरों को 2-3 घोड़े छोटा मोटा लो गोल का टूर्नामेंट खेलने के लिए मौका दे सकते हैं हमको अपने घोड़े देते हैं फिट करने के लिए घोड़े फिट हो जाते हैं नए उनका गेम भी हो जाता है काफ़ी अच्छे खेलते हैं
For decades, it was only feasible to play polo if you belonged to the army, but in recent years, it's become more accessible to civilians in India. This polo centre is one of the biggest in the country. Taran Sarohi, who runs it, learned to play in the army and captained India for 4 years, but he wants to promote the sport outside of army circles.
So are you trying to make equestrian sports more popular? Because at the moment everyone is so obsessed with cricket here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's become like a religion now. Everyone eats, breathes, sleeps cricket.
So what's the strategy for getting more people interested?
So the idea is that La Pegasus becomes a center where anyone from any walk of life who wants to come and learn the sport can do that. And we are going to have a variety of memberships, right from kids to adults. I've got a host of 14, 15, 16-year-old kids learning. But on the other side, I also have a lot of 40-year-olds who are learning because they're trying to rediscover their lives, mid-age crisis when it hits.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. Yes, I keep telling them, I said, when mid-age crisis hits, it's either get a new girlfriend or learn polo.
The Maori horses Manjeev and Charlotte are training aren't quite ready to play, and people still prefer to use thoroughbreds, but they're hoping to find a place for them on the field. They also plan to open a groom school to train up more people like Lal in the way of natural horsemanship as equestrian sport in India increases in popularity.
Well, that's all we have time for on this week's show, but do join us next week if you can, when
Mike Corey travels to Kazakhstan, where he'll be finding out how important nature continues to be to the traditionally nomadic people of the world's 9th largest country, as well as for travellers who visit there.
all that and a lot more on next week's travel show. And in the meantime, you can catch up with us on social media and share your travel stories with us and the world. Until next time though, from me, Crystal Larwood, and the rest of the travel show team here in London, it's goodbye.